morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who has joined us here today. Welcome to the February session of Apex Office as JPAC series. So, in today's session, we'll see how Apex and AI comes together to build an intelligent information inquiry app. So, today's speaker is going to be Roopesh Tokala, who is a principal product manager in the Oracle Apex product team. Before I hand it over to Roopesh, I would like to talk about the upcoming events in Oracle Apex. So, if you'd like to follow the events happening around the world, scan this QR code and it takes you to an Apex app where we list all the events which is happening across the globe for Oracle Apex. You can go ahead and register for any event that is upcoming or happening right now. And I would especially like to talk about the upcoming event for Women in Apex at Hyderabad. So, this is a Women in Oracle Apex series that we started last year. The first session happened in Bengaluru last year in the same month. And this year, we are bringing this event to Hyderabad. And it is going to be an in person event. So we request all the women to come forward and register for the event. It's completely free. And it's your chance to meet the Oracle Apex product team and also network with all the women in the community. And this time we are also opening a call for papers where we are providing a stage to the women leaders in the Apex community to take the stage and present your Apex innovations and solutions. So, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and register as soon as possible. So, with that said, I would like to hand it over to Roopesh to start with the session.
Okay, thank you, Apurva. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Roopesh. I'm part of Oracle Apex product management team. It's already informed by Apurva. So, what we are going to see during the presentation today or during the session today, in this session, I'm going to walk you through how to build an intelligent RFI answering solution. For example, let us assume I have, as an organization, we have thousands of articles available in my database, right? So how can I use those articles to answer the RFS, the request for information that we get from our customers? How can I use the features like vector search, generative AI, and in fact, you can also use OCA generative agents to answer your questions. So we are going to dissect this into multiple parts. We're going to see how the vector search works, how you can do re-ranking, how you can generate a text with the help of AI, and once this is completed, as a second part of the demo, I'm also going to cover how can you leverage generative AI agents provided by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure to answer your RFI questions. So without further ado, let me just start it. So I'm going to cover the most part of the presentation which I'm going to cover is already available in the product. So do not make any purchasing decision based on this demonstration alone. Okay, so how does it work? Before I go and excite you guys by showing live demonstration, let us understand a couple of concepts which Oracle Apex and Oracle Database 26 AI or 23 AI provides. So let us understand a little bit of theory before we actually get into how we can implement it. So first important thing, like I mentioned in the introduction, how you can answer your questions. I'm going to do a vector search on top of my data. What vector search does, we're going to understand. I'm going to do a vector search on top of my data and use that return chunks of data to generate my text. So what exactly is Oracle AI vector search? Starting with Oracle Database 23 AI and with 26 AI now, there are a lot of enhancements. You might have heard this word a lot, right? We might have gone and started using vector search in a lot of our use cases, right? So what vector search does? For example, let us assume I have business data available in my organization. I need to do a semantic search on top of it, or a meaningful search, or a similarity search on top of it. So you can use vector search to perform that. Basically, the definition, as you can see, vector search transforms your data into high dimensional vectors. We are going to see live example. So those high dimensional vectors, we can use various PL SQL APIs, SQL APIs to do a similarity search or a meaningful search or a semantic search on top of your data. So this is something we are going to discuss in detail. And basically, I'm going to convert the text or chunks of data that I have in my document database into vector embeddings. On top of that, we are going to see a vector search, similarity search on top of that. So that's something. And what does Apex provides? So should I be always writing code to in order to do that? No, you don't need to now do. We are like enterprise AI application development platform, and low code features are available out of the box, right? So what we can do, starting with Oracle Apex 24.2, we have introduced a new feature called vector providers. Basically, you can go ahead to workspace utilities under your workspace and start configuring a vector provider. It can be either your local database ONNX model, or your OCA generative AI service, or OpenAI service, or a Cohere AI embedding model. You can configure any generative AI embedding models, or you can also write a custom PL SQL which accepts text as input and provide vector embeddings as output. So we provide three different options: database ONNX, generative AI service, custom PL SQL. So we just need to create a vector provider. Once the vector provider is created, you can use a PL SQL API that Apex provides, called apex_ai.get vector embeddings, to convert your plain text into vector embeddings. I know this is complete theory. I'm going to show this live as well in a couple of minutes. So you can utilize vectors providers, and search configurations is nothing new for us as a Apex developer, right? Search configurations is there from last couple of years now. Starting with 24.2, vector search is supported in search configuration. You can just go ahead and provide tables with vectors available inside that, and you can start creating vectors on top of, you can start creating search configuration on top of that. And not only that, you can configure the index usage. You can configure the distance metrics like cosine or Hanning, what are more things you want to use, you can do that. And you can also provide maximum vector distance or maximum results that you want to display. Again, we are going to see this in a live demonstration. So once that is completed, the simple steps: add a vector column in order to do vector search, add a vector column to your database table. Once that is completed, create a vector provider and generate vector embeddings from plain text into vector embeddings using the vector provider. And once that is completed, you can create a search configuration that we just saw in the previous slide, right? You can create a search configuration on top of your table where your vector column is available. And also, obviously, you need to use a vector provider to do the similarity search. And finally, you can just go ahead and create a vector search page, or we also provide Apex search, Apex_search PL SQL API. You can leverage that as well in order to do a search. Instead of doing the default search page, you can also use the PL SQL API. You can create a cards region, you can create a classic report, you can create anything that you want using the PL SQL API, right? So with this, let us understand, we understood what are vector providers, how you can configure that in Apex, what are the features that you get, right? And one more important feature that we are going to use in this demonstration is AI configurations. We are not new to AI configurations. We have been seeing AI configurations from 24.2, and we are creating amazing chatbots by using RAG sources, right? So we are going to leverage AI configurations. We can create our custom RAG source based on data available in my local database or external data sources. So based on that, you can create chatbot, generate text with AI, or you can also use Apex_AI, which is a PL SQL API. Again, we provide in order to integrate it everywhere. So we're going to have a look at AI configurations as well. So with that, I'm going to wind up with this slide right now. So some of the cool APIs that Oracle provides as a database, or Oracle Apex provides. For example, I want to upload a knowledge document, which is in a PDF format. I want to load it to my database table, convert that into text, then into chunks of data. So what you can do, I'm going to use dbms vector, dbms underscore vector underscore chain dot util to text, which is a PL SQL API with a function there. And in the same PL SQL API, util to chunks. So util to text converts your blob data PDF file that you're going to use into a text format into clob data. From the clob data, you can use util to chunks to convert the huge clob file into multiple chunks based on our requirement, right? And we also saw Apex_AI already. We are going to see it live during the demonstration. So with this, let's just skip to the interesting part of the demo, where we're going to see how all these things come together to create an intelligent RFI answering solution. So let me just come to the very basics of it. I'm just going to my application, which is already created. I'm not creating from scratch. I'm using the application which is already there. So before we go ahead, this is a search page. For example, like I mentioned, I have multiple knowledge documents available in my database or in my organization, which I'm going to use to convert into glob, from glob to glob, glob to chunks, chunks to vectors. How it works, we'll see that in a minute. So for before that, I'll just choose a file. Let's see the end application. So I'm going to select Oracle Database PDF, which is an Oracle knowledge document that I created for this demo. I'm going to click on Open. Done. Oracle Database is loaded. And by default, I'm giving the chunk size, number of words of chunk size is 200. And if there is any overlap that it requires, it will pick up automatically. By default, I gave it as 15. And I'm using the vector embedding model from OCI Generative AI, which is Cohere Embed v4.0, right? So with this, let me just click on upload process and we'll see what happens in the backend in a couple of minutes, right? As soon as I click on upload documents, what happened? The Oracle database.pdf, the got converted into glob. From that glob, I created chunks of data. From the chunks of data, I created vector embeddings. So that is the same thing you can see here in my classic report, right? So I just loaded Oracle database.pdf. The same data that I have in the file, it came here automatically. And once this is a glob data, blob to glob, right? This is a blob data, this is a glob data. From here, this is just knowledge document. And I want to convert this into chunks of data. For example, if you see here, I'm having the chunk text. I have so much data here, right? What exactly is this? For example, 13 is my Oracle database ID. PDF that I doc ID is 13. So from the huge glob data that we saw in the previous report, it has intelligently divided into multiple chunks of data. For example, this is my first chunk. For that, these are the vector embeddings. You can see Oracle database.pdf. So this is my second chunk of data from the document, PDF document. These are the vector embeddings of this particular text, right? How this all came into picture, we'll understand that now. So you can see it has intelligently mentioned 200 words that we mentioned. We mentioned overlap, we mentioned recursive, everything is mentioned in the backend. We'll see the code in a minute. So from there, it has automatically converted it. So how it worked? So first things first, let me just go back to map builder. What is the first step that we had? Add a vector column to my database table, which is already done. The second step, go to workspace utilities, add a vector provider. What I did here, I'm going to use a vector provider from Oracle Generative AI service, right? So if I open the configuration here, I'm not doing much. I'm just configuring the API of Oracle Generative AI service. And in the model, if you notice, I'm using cohere.embed-v4.0, which is an embedding model, which will help you to convert your text into vector embeddings. I'm using the credentials from Oracle Cloud. This is something we all know we have been seeing from in multiple office hours or multiple hands-on labs, right? So this is something I created. If you test the connection, it will be successful. The connection succeeded. So I'm using OCA Generative AI. You can also use OpenAI, Cohere. And as I mentioned earlier, provided type may not be generative service. Oracle provides open source LLM, ONNX model, right? Not LLM, sorry, I take back my word. Oracle provides open source ONNX model, or you have your own ONNX models. You can load them as well. Or like I mentioned, you can write your custom PL SQL, which accepts text as input and returns vector embeddings as output. You can also do that. So I'm just going with generative service for now. Okay, I created a vector provider. How I can leverage it to convert my text into embeddings and how I can do a similarity search. Similarity search comes in the next part where I'm going to use onset RFI. But for now, what happens? Let us see. So let me just dissect it a little bit before we show the actual implementation. I'm going to SQL commands. This is a plain text. I'm just using select what is Oracle Apex. I don't need to use a dual anymore, right? I just mentioned what is Oracle Apex. This is a plain text format. Now I want to convert this into vector embeddings, right? So what I should be doing here, I'm going to select apex underscore AI dot get vector embeddings. The value text value, I'm going to parse it. What is Oracle Apex? And the static ID is Cohere embed model. From where it came, if I go here, this is my Cohere embed model static ID, right? And it is coming as vector embedding. I'm just naming the column. So if I just run this out, the same what is Oracle Apex text format is now converted into vector embeddings, and it is stored in my, it will be, we can store it in your Oracle database table, right? This is as simple as it. You can just go ahead and use apex underscore AI dot get vector embedding to convert your plain text data into vector embeddings. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to utilize the Q&A section. Thank you. And I can just update my database table. That is done. So once I'm done with that, how this actual chunking worked here, right? If I, okay, sorry for that. When I click on our choose file and click on upload and process, what happened in the backend? I'm not going to explain about how you can create a file upload or text files, or you can see text field or display only field. I'm going to not going to explain more about that. Let us see what actually happens when I click on upload and process document. So for that, I'm going back to page number 17. Okay, we'll wait for a second. In my page number 17, this is a plain form. You can see this is a plain Apex form. You don't need to write magic here. This is a plain Apex form. And under my processing is where I'm doing a little bit of PL SQL. So first things first, I want to upload what our user mentioned into a table called knowledge documents, right? So which is this particular table, right? This is where I'm uploading what the user is trying to upload. I'm going to upload the document to a blob column. Once that is completed, you can see the same thing, process form upload RFA documents. This is form automatic DML processing. I'm not writing anything. It's a basic that comes with any form. Once that is completed, you can notice that return primary keys after insert. Primary key is auto-generated here. So upon inserting the data into that particular table called knowledge documents, it will return the primary key back to Apex where you can leverage it. So why I need that? That's where I'm going to show blob to clob data. So if you saw the presentation where I mentioned about DBMS vector chain util to text, right? This is where I mentioned DBMS vector chain dot util to text converts your blob data into clob data. So I'm just using the same DBMS vector chain util to text. This is my column name in my database table. And you can see where doc ID is equal to P17 doc ID. Why it is coming here? Because I mentioned a return primary key. So it will automatically pick it up, right? So once that is completed, I'm just going to select blob into clob and uploading the same table with RFI content, which is my column, clob column. So I'm just doing this. I'm not writing any complex PL SQL code here. This is just converting blob to clob and storing it in my Oracle database table. In fact, updating my table, right? Blob to clob is done. Once blob to clob is done, that's where I'm going to chunk it, right? The clob data might be like 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages. Every time user asks a question, I don't need to go through all the 30 pages, right? So that is where I'm using chunking concept here. Ignore about all the application errors. I just want to be so much clear here. That's it. So what I am doing here from the document that we have just uploaded, LDoc ID is nothing but if you see P17 doc ID, chunk size that we provided in the UI. So for example, if you go back, this is my chunk size, this is my overlap, and this is a model, right? So I'm just going back to chunk size and overlap. So what we are doing here, so I'm just selecting the RFI content and the title of it, and I'm going to pass maximum chunk size and what is the overlap I need. So what I'm doing here, I'm using, before even if I go there, I'm just updating the document chunks. If I'm having some chunks already available, I'm just going to use DBMS vector chain util to chunks, which will convert my chunk data, which will convert my clob data into chunks. So how it will define maximum number of things, maximum number of votes, you can see by votes, maximum number of votes, and what is the overlap percentage or overlap text that we need, right? And split recursively. So these are the default options that you get while using my DBMS underscore vector underscore chain dot util to chunks. So I'm just basically taking the whole content, clob content, and using this logic to split it into into multiple chunks of data. Once that is split, we just saw how apex underscore AI dot get vector embeddings work. So along with storing the chunk data, inserting the chunk data, I'm also converting that particular chunk data, see chunk text, into vector embeddings and storing it in the same table. So I don't need to go ahead on multiple tables because your business data, your vector embeddings should reside in the same table, so we can do easy comparisons. So the chunk text, chunk embedding, storing in the same table. Done. With this, I'm done with my implementation. These are all just exceptions or success messages that you saw in the front end. So nothing more. So I'm just doing a plain insert statement. While doing the insert, I'm using two PL SQL APIs. One is apex underscore AI dot get vector embeddings. Second is tbms underscore vector underscore chain dot util to chunks, clob to chunks. That's it. I'm done. That's when I upload a data here. For example, I'll show again. If I have some other data, 1 second, I should have OCI PDF. If I have some other data, so what will happen? Blob to clob, clob to chunks, chunks to vector embeddings. That's what happens when I click on upload and process. As simple as that, right? So I hardly wrote like 10 lines of PL SQL in order to do this. If you leave all the exceptions outside, that's me being over secured there. Okay. And you can also see the same thing in these 2 pages. Okay. Now, my data got converted into chunks, embeddings. Now is the time I need to get answers to my RFI. So again, I'm going to split this into multiple concepts, right? So what I will do, first things first, let me copy a question for you. I'm asking a question, RFI question that came from my customer. Is Oracle database suitable for mission critical transactional systems? So first thing what I will do here, let me get the top 10 matching vectors or matching chunks of data that we have. So what will happen if I click on enter here? I'll show that. It will show the top 10 matching chunks of data. Based on the RFA question that we provided, it will do a vector search in the backend, the meaningful search or the similarity search we saw earlier, right? It will do that similarity search and provide top 10 records of data. Not sure. Yeah, it's already fast. It should be very fast, but I'm not sure what happened. So is Oracle database suitable for mission critical systems? It went to the Oracle database.pdf document. It picked up this chunk of data to answer it. You can see the ranking, the similarity percentage, the cosine similarity. I'm using cosine algorithm here. And you can see all those top 10 records here, right? So how it worked in the backend. So let us understand. There are 3 different concepts here, right? Matching responses using vector search, re-rank responses using AI, generate response using AI. So I'll split one by one and explain it clearly so that we are all in the same page. So when I ask a question, I got top 10 chunks, how it worked in the backend. So let me go to page number 16. And before that, I'll also show a quick shade component or search configuration that I created, right? So let me just go to shade components. If you remember in the first concepts in the presentation, what I did there, right? We had a discussion about search configurations now support Oracle vector search. So if I go to search configurations, sorry for that, I clicked on escape and it came up. You can see I have 2 different search configuration. Let me just select one. It will be the same thing to explain. I'm going to document chunks. What happened here? I have a document chunks here, right? So in this, what am I doing? I'm selecting the search type as Oracle vector search and the label is document chunks. So in this, I'm not doing anything. I'm just selecting the table name, document chunks, where we are storing the chunks of data with embedding them into vectors in a vector column, right? So I'm picking the vector provider that we created in the first step, which is Cohere embed model. I'm selecting the column name as chunk embedding, which is a vector column we saw in a report earlier. I'm using the search type as exact, or you can also mention approximate and select how much percentage. For now, I did exact. And I'm using the distance metric as cosine. For text-to-text comparison, cosine is more than enough. If you want to, based on your requirement, you can check between dot, Euclidean squared, anything that you want, you can select them. For now, I'm going with cosine. And what columns to display? That's, I just mentioned document name and chunk text, right? And finally, how many number of rows to return? I just mentioned 10 rows. 10 is a maximum number of rows you should return. So that is where you can see, I can see only 10 records came here. So that is because of the search configurations that we have. So I hope everyone is clear with search configuration so far. I created a plain search configuration. All I did is select the new Oracle vector search as search type. So if you select a search configuration in general, I'm not going to create one, but you will get a standard Oracle text, Oracle ubiquitous test, and list earlier. What we introduced with 24 dot is Oracle vector search. That's what I did now. Once that is completed, how am I getting the matching responses? Again, I'm not doing much here. Whatever question I'm getting here, if you notice this, or user is providing, it is a text field, right? It is a page item, it is a text field, it is stored in P16 RFI, right? So once it is done, when I'm clicking on submit, when I'm clicking on enter or submit page, it will do the submit page. What happens in the backend? We'll just see that. I'm using apex underscore vector embeddings again to embed the user question, right? So if I want to do a similarity search, I need to convert the user query into an vector embedding as well. So that's exactly what I'm doing here, query vectors. Once that is completed, I'm finding vector distance, right? From the chunk embedding that we have in the database table called document chunks, and the query vector that we have from the user. Using a cosine algorithm, I'm finding the distance. Technically, you don't need to do this as well. You can write a new API called apex underscore search dot search and provide the terms as well, which is something you can also do. Either one of them you can use. This is database way, that is apex way. You can do either of them based on your requirement. So I'm correcting the maximum distance. Once that is completed, I'm calculating cosine similarity percentage. These all things are basic SQL, right? So the only magic happens here. It will compare the user query with the chunks that we have available in your database column, and it will provide top 10 chunks for you. That's it. So you can also see, I just mentioned first 10 rows only. If you're using apex underscore search dot search, you don't need to mention anything here at all. Okay, that is done. I'm going to close it, save it. When I click on user clicks on this particular thing, that's exactly what happens. It did closest similarity search using cosine algorithm and displayed the top 10 results. Now, this is top 10 results, right? It is not exactly correct. Maybe top 7, top 8 might be the very little bit further match that we want, than we want. So what we can do now, we can ask AI to re-rank it, right? I just don't want just to proceed with these responses, top 10 responses, out of which I might need to use only top 5, right? Based on my organization policy, I don't need to go with autonomous database right now. Means I'm answering a question for a licensing customer, or my question answer should not be coming from Apex because I'm using database question here, or something similar to that, or the answers are very far match from what we actually have. So what you need to do in this case? So I'll click on next and I'll explain how the re-ranking works here. Just let me click on next. So what exactly is happening here? Based on the question that we have here, Apex is going through, or the PL SQL that I wrote is going through each and every answer that we have here. It's going through each and every answer, and it will provide a ranking or a score for the response. Out of top 1 to 5, it will give like 5 is being the highest score. This is the highest match. This might be, and this might be like getting 3 as a score. But the last one will be having 1 as a score. So we'll see that response in a minute, but how it actually works. So I'm just going back. If you remember, again, I'm going to the concepts thing. When I explain these are the concepts that we are going to use, what exactly we spoke. We spoke about using AI configurations and responses there. So let me just show what I configured in AI configurations, and we'll see how the re-ranking works. So I have created a new generative AI configuration for re-ranking. So what happens inside this? Re-ranking is a name. And I just mentioned you are an RFA expert response analyst. This is system prompt, right? Your job is to rank internal solution documents and provide a response. And I mentioned 5 being the excellent, 1 being irrelevant from the matching chunks of data. And I mentioned some rules as well here. And I want response in this particular format. Rank 1, score 5. So if the score is 5, rank 1. and document name, text, what you have, right? So this is something I have provided in a system prompt so that it will go read the question, read the answer, and provide a ranking for that, right? So what options to pick? What are the things to pick from there? If I go to rank source, I just mentioned a similar thing that we saw here, but here I'm using apex search.search. Why I want to show both vector embeddings and vector distance and apex search.search, both does the same job in the backend. So apex search.search and the chunks that we have, it will do the job automatically by itself. You don't need to write more lines of SQL. It will do the job for you. So I'm just selecting the RFI as question and title document as the chunks of data that we have, right? Those descriptions will be coming as answer for you and it will rank it, right? So if you see this, whenever I click on the next button, it will call this particular AI configuration using apex underscore AI and it will do the job for you. If you go back, you can see it has already responded back. It has responded rank 1, the responses that we saw top 10 matching responses, right? From there, it mentioned Oracle database PDF it took, and this is a matching chunk. This is a matching chunk. So it has picked on its own. It has done a re-ranking based on the relevance. Like the rules I mentioned in the system prompt, it has done the re-ranking, right? So how it did it? I know I just mentioned AI configurations is what it did, but in the backend, what happens in this page when the page is when we are trying to load the page? You can see in the pre-rendering, get rank response, right? So when our user tries to load this page, it will call apex underscore AI dot generate. It will use the re-rank that we mentioned earlier, and it will give the response back to us. That's exactly what we are doing over here. I'm putting that in a collection just in case, right? To show it in a report. So that is exactly what happened over here, right? Now, let us assume I am come from a sales team or pre-sales or solution architecture team. When a question came to me, I know which documents to use or I know which chunks of data I need to go in the document, right? I can review it obviously, but I don't need to select all the top rankings, right? So you can see there are like some irrelevant documents. I'm answering a licensing software, right? I'm working with a licensing customer, on-prem customer. So I don't want answer from autonomous database. I don't want answer from OCA.pdf. So what you can do, you can select which responses that you want to leverage. Right? Okay, I don't want OCI. Out of top 5, I don't want to go further than that. Out of top 5, I want to select only these 4 responses to generate the final text that we can use. And just click on next. So I have created one more AI configuration, one more rack source, which will pick this question and answer, and it will provide a summary for us. That's it. Nothing much I'm doing. I can see here, once I do that, this is the final response. Is Oracle suitable for mission critical applications? Response is yes, highly suitable and widely deployed for mission critical transaction workloads, which is true. And what are the things that it considered? From the matching chunks of data, it did not hallucinate, first of all. It went through the chunks of data that we selected in the previous step, and it has generated a completed summary, right? That's it. We're not doing anything more than that. We are actually dependent on the knowledge documents that we have in my database. We are generating text. We're doing vector search. We are re-ranking the generated vector search, and we are finally generating a response based on the chunks of data that I need. That's it. So if you want to edit it further, for example, demo, sample, or whatever you want to edit further, you can just go ahead and edit that. And finally, you can just finish it and start seeing at your responses, right? So this is something I can leverage in future perspective by keeping that in mind. I've said it in my database. You can pick this question, pick this response at any time you want, right? So this is something we did. I'll just summarize what we did here. I have uploaded all the knowledge documents to my database, which converted from blob to glob to chunks, chunks to embeddings. Once my data is available in my database in vector embeddings, I did a similarity search using vector apex search.search using search configurations. I got top 10 matching chunks of data. I did re-ranking using AI. Once the re-ranking is completed, I selected out of 10, I selected 4 particular records, which I want to use to generate the summary. From those 4 particular records, I'm using generate text, which is a feature of Apex, to generate my final response here. So this way you have control of your complete stuff in your hands. So you don't need to just depend on AI. You have complete control with you as a person who is answering. And I'm pretty sure there's a question already in the chat saying like, I don't want to go through each and every question. I have an Excel sheet that I received, a spreadsheet that I received my customer. I just want to upload it and start getting the responses. Why not? You can just write a couple of lines of PL SQL to read each and every question, and you can ask AI to answer it. All these steps you can automate it. That is first thing. And this is the first feature where we are using plain Oracle database features, vector search, generative AI configured in Apex. By all means, I didn't show that where I configured generative AI, assuming everyone knows. But if you go to workspace utilities, you have generative AI configured over here. Again, I'm using OCA generative AI service only, and I'm using XA.grok4 model of OCA generative AI service. Right? This is the first implementation. Now, is there any alternate solution where any tool or agent which can do the job? Definitely, Oracle has a lot of AI solutions. Oracle Cloud comes with a lot of AI analytics and AI solutions for you. So one such tool, we did already cover that in the global office hours. I will request my colleagues to paste the channel, paste the video link in the chat. But we did already cover that in the global office hours. We can just have a look, but I'll show the end application for now. Let's assume I'm just going back to my application, RFI Accelerator. This time, instead of going doing everything on my own, I'm using OCI Generative Agent RAG tool, Retrieval Augmented Generation tool that Generative Agent provides. Let me go there. I can just mention the same question. Is Oracle Apex suitable for enterprise grade production applications? Or I can just use the same question if you want. So I'm just going to take the same question, or okay, let me see. I have the document available, which is Apex. So let me just answer that. So what it actually does in the backend, I'll show that in a minute, but this is covered in detail in a global office hour session already. So if you see, I'm answering a question, is Oracle Apex suitable for enterprise grade applications? It is answering properly. I want to upload a new document. I have two documents available. Let me upload one more. So let me just go to my Oracle content. I'm sorry where it went. It's in downloads. So I'll just upload autonomous database. I'm just going to my autonomous database. So what I'm doing, instead of loading my documents to the local database, here we can load the documents to object storage. And from there, agent will do its stuff like re-ranking, picking the proper vector chunks, doing the re-ranking, all those stuff agent will take care automatically once the ingestion job is completed. So if you ask questions, anything, I can just keep on asking questions. Okay, I'll just ask question about database again. So I can just ask as many questions as possible. As long as the knowledge documents are available in your object storage or in your database, the agent will pick it up and respond with a appropriate answer. So how it works, like I mentioned, we are just using PL SQL APIs here. This is a chatbot that we custom created. And in Oracle Cloud, we have a feature called OCI Generative AI Service Agents, right? So this is an amazing tool that we have. We are just leveraging that agent to create everything here, right? So if you see the backend logic, a little bit, I'm not going to do deep dive here. So what am I doing every time user asks a question? That is a classic report that we created here. You can see that from a database table, right? I'm using RAG chatbot as a database table. From there, I'm showing it up. From there, I'm just going to click on send button. For example, P2 prompt is this particular text field that you saw, and this is send button. So when I click on send button, it is going to talk to the RAG agent or the RAG tool that we have in Oracle Cloud agent. I'm using a REST API to call that agent endpoint ID. I'm chatting with that agent endpoint ID. And these are all the stuff that you need to provide. I'm using Apex Web Service, make REST request, doing a post call, passing the AI credentials that we configured in web credentials, and just providing the question. Once the response is there, I'm storing that in a database table in the RAG chatbot table. And also I'm storing the citations, right? I need to show from where it has picked it up, which file it has picked it up. right? I'm also showing Oracle apex.pdf. You can see all the Apex documentations. If I go here, I'm pretty sure it picked up from Oracle database.pdf, right? This is the same PDF that we uploaded in my local database as well. You can see that here, right? So to understand more about this, please visit the YouTube video that my colleague shared in the chat, and you can do the end-to-end configuration. We do have live lab, we do have blog posts, multiple things on how to configure generative agents with Apex. Okay, with that, I think 10 minutes early, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them from the Q&A section.
All right. Thank you so much, Rupesh, for such an engaging session. So just to give a summary, like what we have learned in this session, we learned how to leverage vector search in our Apex application and how to leverage generative AI agents to answer the RFI question, and also how the re-ranking is helping in deciding the perfect answer. So thank you so much for that. And the demos which you have showed, it's really useful, and I think it's given a lot of ideas. So we can take back and we can just apply in our applications as well. So Rupesh, there are a lot of questions in the Q&A, and I would like to thank each of the panel members for answering those questions. So there's one common question which was popping up, like attendees were looking for the application. So what do you have to say for that?
That's a nice question, actually. Like I'm just going through the questions, and I saw a comment from Apurva as well. We will try to put up either a blog post or a live lab on for this concept. We'll discuss internally, and once that is done, we'll share promote it on our LinkedIn X and other groups. Please do follow them, and we'll post it there. Thank
And
you.
also on the similar lines, we have one live lab in the blog post where we are using generative AI, where we can upload the document and get the answers as well. So I have already pasted in the chat the link, and I request my team to please paste it as well so that everyone can get benefited from that. So now, as we are at the end of the session, so before we close the session, I have some few announcements and few resources to share. First, as Apurva already mentioned, that Oracle Apex team is coming up with a great event at Hyderabad on March 13. That is Women in Apex event, and this is an event exclusively for the women in the community. So I request everyone to please share this and do attend this event, and please share in your organization as well. So if you have not scanned the QR, please scan this QR and get registered as well. And also this time we are coming up with the interesting call for paper session as well. So if you have any ideas or if you have any new innovation, you can just share it with us in the registration form as well, and you will get a chance to speak in the forum as well. So that is the one. And also, I encourage everyone to please take a few minutes and go through our latest newsletter. It is really have some important updates like blog post, new live lab, and the events which we are going to happen in future, and all the past event details as well. So scan this QR and you will get access to the newsletter as well. And if you are new to Oracle Apex and if you want to brush up your Oracle Apex skills, then don't worry. We have a learning path which consists of two key courses. The one is Oracle Apex Developer Professional, where you will learn the fundamentals of building powerful low-code applications. You will learn soup to nuts concept of Oracle Apex. And also we have another course in that is empowering low code application with AI. You will learn how you will integrate AI and Gen AI capabilities into your Oracle Apex applications. And once you are done with this course, you can take the certification, that is Oracle Apex Cloud Developer Professional certification. And once you pass the certification, you can post it on LinkedIn and use the following hashtag so that it can reach to the wider community as well. And if you want to repeat this office hour, and if you have missed any of the past office hours, you can replay it. All the recordings are available on YouTube. You can go to apex.oracle.com/go/playlist/jpack, and you will find all the relevant office hours which have happened in the past. And this office hours also will just post in a day or two. And in your journey of learning Oracle Apex, if you need help of the team, and if you are a partner or customer or building any innovative Apex application, or if you have amazing ideas to present to us, or if you want to present in the upcoming office hours, you are most welcome. You can reach out to us in the given email ID, and we'll be happy to help you. With this, thank you so much for joining us in today's office hours. Thank you so much. Stay tuned and see you in the next office hours. Thank you.